Hello and welcome back to another episode of Transport Fever 2. Last episode we focused on some connections in this area with Santa Clara, and I think in this episode we're going to focus on some public transportation connections between these two cities. So I think pretty much what that means for us is we're going to create some bus routes to and from some of the cities in the region, and that might compete with some of our train lines, but I think some of the demand just simply can't be covered by trains alone. So having some bus routes to help out with getting to and from neighboring cities will probably be somewhat helpful in the future. So some connections that we're going to focus on in this episode I think is going to be Santa Clara to Garden Grove, Santa Clara to Cedar Rapids, and maybe even Santa Clara to Akron. All of this by bus. We do have a bus route that we set up quite a while ago between Santa Clara and Tucson. However, as we can see here, all of them are sort of stuck in traffic, so they're not able to do us much of anything while they sit in traffic. But the goal of adding all these other bus lines is to hopefully free up these roads so that our buses become useful again. So the first connection we're going to focus on is Santa Clara to Cedar Rapids. We have this one by train as a pretty direct route, but buses to help supplement that demand I think could be helpful, and these buses can still access different areas of the city, which might prove to be more beneficial in the eyes of people taking public transportation. So first we need to come in here and upgrade this station just a little bit. We'll maybe extend it just a little bit longer, and I think we also need to have a second street connection on the other side to help accommodate the new connection we're going to make. Because the road that this bus station currently lets out onto gets pretty full when it tries to go out to the main road here. Now this connection should be pretty straightforward, so all we have to do is find our buses, and we'll go with a couple of these buses. Let's go with 14 of them, and then set up a new line that will run from this station here in Santa Clara over to the station here in Cedar Rapids. So we will need to adjust the terminals that these lines go on. So over here is good, and over here in Santa Clara I think we are going to need to expand the station a little bit more. So we'll just come in here, and since we're focusing on Santa Clara this episode, we'll add a few more to help accommodate the demand. Now, similarly to what we did at the other station, because we're focusing on Santa Clara, I think we are going to need a second road connection over here, and then we can just replace the buildings and put them somewhere out here. I think that should be fine. And then I want to connect it over here, so we'll have to drag this over. And this isn't going to be a pretty road coming out, but that should still give us a better connection coming out that way. And one last thing here quick in Santa Clara is, if we can, I'd like to add a bus lane to a good portion of our main road, so our buses can quickly get around without being stuck in too much traffic. So I think just this strip is really all that needs it, and we should be good to go from there. And the next route we're gonna set up is Santa Clara to Garden Grove. We can see it's a pretty heavily used line, so we are definitely gonna have some demand for this one. However, the tricky thing is where do we want the station to be? I think we can continue using this station right across from the train station. However, we are gonna have to redo this sort of region of Garden Grove, because I want to have a connection to the main road, which would be along here, and we don't want to create unnecessary intersections on this road. So from here we can simply add a street connection and then drag that street connection over until we reach probably this intersection. So now we have that connection made. I actually think I might like it better as a straight road as opposed to one that's curved. So we can do that. And maybe just to help out the city, add some of these roads back. And we're probably going to need to add some passenger buildings. So we'll plop a few onto the ends here. And we'll stick with this for now. So again, our connection here, we're going to go with 12 buses and then go from our bus station in Santa Clara over to our bus station here in Garden Grove. So we'll just have to come in and make sure they're on separate terminals. And then I want to go back to Garden Grove here and add a bus lane for the buses that are going to be coming into the city, so they don't get stuck in tons of traffic on their way in. I'm not going to do this whole road. If it becomes an issue, maybe we will do the whole road, but we do have a little bit of area where the buses won't be able to immediately get to where they're going. However, that should be pretty much fine. And for our final connection, we'll come into the city of Akron here. And this station is one that desperately needs some upgrades. So we'll add some more platforms, increase the platform sizes, probably to about there. We could probably just straight up add street connection, although it says there's too much slope, so I guess we're fine leaving it like that. And then we can add back in some of these buildings to increase capacity. So now we have a much larger bus station in Akron, and from here we can buy our buses. This one we'll go with probably 12 buses yet again, and we'll have it go here from Akron over to Santa Clara. And now lastly in this episode, I think we're going to try to make a connection between these two roads just to help vary where people can enter Cedar Rapids, so that's all not funneled into this one road here. But if they come in over here, they then have this road where they can then filter in and through the city. So this connection should be pretty much just as easy as connecting the two ends, and it does look like it did what I wanted to, which is bridge over the highway. So that all looks good, and we should be able to just click OK and it'll all work out from there. Now, one thing we might want to consider is somehow freeing up the connections over here, which we'll probably have to turn on player ownership to make these intersections less weird, to stop the city from doing more weird stuff in this rough terrain. And these roads look like they're kind of moving, so hopefully cars coming in won't get stuck in too much traffic. But of course we'll have to see once it gets as an established line between the two cities. Now that is pretty much going to be it for what we do with bus routes coming to and from Santa Clara. There's not really much demand to go any farther, because if we do go farther, that's more of a train route or plane instead of buses. So hopefully we'll begin to see Santa Clara using pretty much mostly public transportation to get to and from where they want to go. And for the last little bit of this episode, I do want to look at some really old lines that we still have laying around and upgrade those to have more updated vehicles on them. So we'll start with this line over here. These trucks aren't terribly old, but they definitely could be much newer, so we'll upgrade them to these trucks, and that should work out pretty well. The next line we have here is one that carries logs. Again, these trucks don't seem terribly old, but definitely overdue for an upgrade, and maybe even sell some of these with the increased capacity that we'll now have running through here. So it does seem like it's getting more than enough wood, and while we're here we can upgrade these trucks as well. So we'll grab these, upgrade them to these stake trucks, and that should be good. We should be able to empty this truck station out pretty well, and with these larger trucks we will add some a cargo building just so it can hold more planks, so that these trucks can reliably come in and out much more and carry a lot more that way. Then we have a few other lines here, such as this one in Louisville. We can replace these with these box trucks, and it doesn't seem like there's much on this line, so we can sell a good portion of them anyway. So that should help out at least a little bit. Then the next line is some of these lines over here, Murrieta, especially the ones carrying brick. We want to grab these and upgrade them to these box trucks yet again. And I think we might need to upgrade this station as well, because these trucks are getting quite big for such a small space. Not sure why we're having issues there. Maybe it's this building. So if we come back, yeah, it seemed like it was the building. So we can come back, increase our platform lengths, and add a cargo building so these trucks can get more brick out into Murrieta. Next, we're going to also look at this grain line. So we'll come in and replace those with these tipper trucks, and we could probably afford to get rid of a few of those vehicles now that the capacity is upgraded. Seems like everything's functioning fine over here, and over on this end everything looks fine. We might add a cargo building just in case if the food starts to build up. And the last line we're gonna look at upgrading is our Knoxville Tools line, and that can get replaced, and we could sell a good portion of these trucks since it's not getting too many tools in all the time. They should be able to handle it just fine. And then also quickly, just add a storage building, since trains do drop off a lot at one time, and we don't want to lose tools that come in here. Now, I think that'll pretty much do it for what we're going to do in this episode. So, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions or feedback, leave a comment below. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.